Great. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Alex Tsakiridis. You can keep Alex, it's easier. I work for PreventionWeb. I'm not a comms guy. I actually used to work on DRR in the field. But I have to say that what the PreventionWeb team is doing is really very good work, top-notch in terms of communicating about disaster risk and DRR, which is a little bit what this campaign is about. So thank you very much to Kevin and the team for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk about our work. PreventionWeb, for those, I assume that everybody knows, but for those who might not, is the global knowledge platform dedicated to DRR. So this is just a small cartoon that I found 2 weeks ago when I was preparing for this presentation, and it seemed quite timely in different aspects, different angles. So who are we? I mean, PreventionWeb is active since 2007, and it got renewed in 2021, last year. It was a project of migrating so many pieces of content from one website to another, and this was a project led by our by the head of our team, Fanny. PreventionWeb is actually not only a place where you can find information and knowledge on DRR, but it's also a community hub because you can contribute your own content, your own work, and you can also share announcements that are meant for the wider community. Our audience is global, diversified, both in terms of profession, but also in terms of risk. Big number of our users and contributors are actually located in high-risk countries. There's a lot of work going, I mean, on and behind PreventionWeb, and you know, we're usually sometimes when we hear about websites, we're just thinking, oh, you know, it's just clicking and updating or featuring content on the homepage. But actually, there's daily monitoring that goes in to find the right resources in terms of quality and other criteria that we will then process and then feature on PreventionWeb. And we also have introduced a new service recently, which is the weekly highlights newsletter with content picked by our editors team. And since I mean the start of the conference, we've been talking about why it is important to change the discourse and change terms that we are using in our language. And definitely, I mean, personally, what I see is that changing the term and removing natural from disasters is really a goal, but then the objective really is to actually start more and more talk about the root causes and the risk drivers behind disaster risk. What is actually the risk creation processes that generate risk? And PreventionWeb helps DRR community members, other members of the public as well, journalists, students, to understand that and really understand what's going on behind extreme events or disasters. Here you'll see also a few figures on the right side of the slide that were retrieved by our web officer, Ken, just showing you a little bit also the importance of our knowledge base. The knowledge base is where we actually feature all of the content you can find. So doing a little bit of research over the last few weeks for the conference, I found a few interesting things. In the past years, we've been seeing some interesting points when looking at articles and content using the natural disaster term in the title, for example. Sometimes the ND term would be used to, even when the author will want to talk about root causes, which is a little bit strange. We would see also natural disaster in brackets in the title. So you're not very sure what do they mean. Do they get their point, or I don't know. And the last funny thing is that you also see articles with the title at the end, 10 best solutions to prevent natural hazards from becoming natural disasters. So, you know, you get a feeling that, you know, they're getting there, but there's like a barrier they can't overcome. So, you know, it's very interesting, and definitely having these conversations in the campaign really helps to move forward. What is the current status? I think a lot of good things, definitely. The campaign is one, but also we still see a number of scientific pieces and articles, academic papers using the ND term, as Diwo was saying just before. We see a lot of, well, fewer, but we still see events and online courses with natural disaster in the title. Actually, maybe 2 days ago, I saw an insurance company using that term. And yes, and in terms of our daily work, we actually still use the Google search keyword natural disaster, because we know that we're still going to find content with using that term. Here are two examples of one is a university, an academic website, and the other one is a scientific one. Recent examples. And here are a few figures with publications that use the ND term in the title. We see less and less. We had in 22, we had 25. This year, up to now, just 8 publications using the term. So there is a decreasing trend, definitely. The graph below is not my cardiogram. It's basically the trends we've been seeing in Google from 2004 up to now, and how the term natural disaster is being used, and its frequency over the years. So, you know, it used to be maybe more used. Now it's a bit less, but it's still a bit high. On the other hand, the reach of our posts and tweets on social media, when we talk about the non-natural disaster campaign, is quite high. And here are 2 examples. The one was actually what we call a card that we produced during the Ocean Conference in Portugal. You see the figures that it got and the retweets, and the one on the right is then a video that we produced and we promoted on Twitter and social media. Ideally, we would actually want to reach a point where you would type in Google, for example, natural disasters, and you will come up with 0 results. And thanks to our social media officer, Giuseppe, who created this GIF. Now, what do we do to support this campaign? Maybe starting with what services do we offer? First of all, since 2011, we've been hosting articles explaining the use of the term and talking about natural disasters. We have 11 articles in total so far. But we also have a big section on the website, which is called the Understanding Risk section, which actually has explanations, very comprehensive explanations on the key concepts on DRR and DRM. And actually, I got to meet just earlier the person who built those pages and developed the content. Okay, thank you. So I should move faster. But that's like one of the most important things that we have on the website. Talking about journalists, we also mentioned it before. It's one of our future projects to host a media hub where we would have resources for media people about all that. Yes, and earlier we just saw an article from some of our panelists. I should go faster a little bit. What do we do to support the campaign? I mean, the things that we have and we host on the website, but there are also activities that we undertake. One is, for example, when we get an article that is interesting and that still has a natural disaster in the title, we remove natural. We definitely also promote content from the campaign. And actually, one of our priorities in general is to, on social media, for example, to put an emphasis on the social causes behind disasters. That's something very important. This is also one of the reasons we introduced recently a new theme, a new way of categorizing content around systemic risk. What can you do? Well, you can definitely share your open access and published work with us. You could perhaps write a piece for our DRR Voices blog series. And then, of course, share any ideas you might have to do things differently and improve. Here are a few references. And I just wanted to finish with two quotes from two early DRR pioneers that we actually interviewed as part of a history project, DRR history project that we also host on PreventionWeb. Thank you very much for your attention.